Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Energy Co-ops in the News series. I'm Colin, and today we're breaking down how a major new piece of federal legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, will impact the U.S. energy sector. For simplicity, we'll refer to it throughout this video as the Mega Bill. Signed into law on July 4th, 2025, the Mega Bill is a budget reconciliation bill that many experts predict will create the largest upward transfer of wealth in American history. In this video, we'll examine how the bill will affect clean energy generation, storage, and job creation in the renewable sector. We'll also examine its potential effects on fossil fuel generation with a closer look at Pennsylvania and consider how these developments will influence energy prices and greenhouse gas emissions nationwide. There is a lot at stake, and we're here to lay out the facts. The Mega Bill sharply reduces several key provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act intended to save households thousands on energy costs and carbon emissions. Under the new law, tax credits for residential energy efficiency upgrades will expire at the end of 2025, meaning that starting in January, households will pay $2,000 more to replace a heating, ventilation, or air conditioning unit, and $1,200 more for window and installation upgrades. The 30% tax credits for solar panels, which typically cost $20,000 to install, will also disappear after 2025. Tax credits for qualifying new and used electric vehicles already expired last month. All in all, these cuts make household electrification, a key energy and cost-saving measure, more expensive. Beyond individual households, the Mega Bill rescinds approximately $20 billion in unspent IRA funds previously allocated to support businesses reducing their greenhouse gas emissions, a big blow to decarbonization nationwide. In terms of energy production, the Mega Bill significantly reduces access to the clean energy investment and production credits for wind and solar. Originally set to run through 2032, eligibility is now restricted to projects that begin construction before mid-2026 or are placed in service by the end of 2027. These cuts are projected to drastically reduce U.S. energy capacity by making building new generation and storage infrastructure more difficult and expensive. These cuts come just as energy demand is rising for the first time in decades, largely driven by data centers and AI. Nationwide, new power generation is expected to decline by about a third over the next decade, mainly due to wind and solar projects that can no longer come online. In Pennsylvania, energy generation capacity could decline by up to 13 gigawatts because of the bill. Most of that loss, a projected 11 gigawatts, will come from canceled or delayed solar projects. Energy storage, which is critical to maintaining grid reliability, will also decline by an estimated 1.6 gigawatts. As clean energy projects stall, Pennsylvania could lose $21 billion in GDP and tens of thousands of jobs in the next decade. With clean energy deployment slowing and energy demand rising, energy prices are expected to rise in many parts of the country. Much of the new electric supply is expected to come from natural gas plants, which are often more expensive to run than wind and solar facilities. Consequently, wholesale electricity prices in Pennsylvania could jump by 9% by 2030 and 18% by 2035, an estimated $2 billion increase in electricity costs. Utilities are expected to pass these costs on to consumers. On average, residential electric bills could rise between 6 to 11%, an additional $160 per year per household. While the Mega Bill rolls back support for wind and solar, it increases or preserves incentives for fossil fuels and other less clean energy technologies like nuclear, hydrogen, hydro, and geothermal. Tax credits for these sources remain in place through at least 2033. The bill also preserves the carbon capture and storage tax credit, which can help fossil fuel companies offset a portion of their greenhouse gas emissions. The most significant change, however, is the Mega Bill's direct support for expanded domestic oil and gas production. To incentivize oil and gas production, the Mega Bill lowers royalty rates on federal oil and gas leases and increases the number of lease sales required each year. The Bureau of Land Management must now hold at least 4 oil sales annually in western states. The review period for nominated land parcels has also been shortened, raising concerns of less thorough environmental assessments. These changes are expected to make drilling for oil and gas cheaper and easier, leading to a significant increase in U.S. fossil fuel production over the next decade. It follows then that one of the clearest risks posed by the megabill is its potential to slow or even reverse emissions progress in the U.S. by ending or sharply curtailing federal tax incentives. Wind and solar projects become more expensive to build, making them less competitive, especially in states without strong clean energy mandates. The remaining credits for advanced technologies like hydrogen, geothermal, and nuclear are unlikely to scale fast enough to offset the loss of wind and solar. As a result, U.S. greenhouse gas emissions are now projected to fall by only 25% by 2030 compared to 2005 levels, a modest improvement from the 20% reduction already achieved as of last year. Under previous Biden-era policies, the U.S. was on track for at least a 40% reduction over that same period. In effect, the megabill could result in 15% more emissions nationwide unless states take strong independent action to close the gap.